You don't need to be the most talkative person in the room to master the art of conversation. In fact, those who leave the strongest impression in social settings are rarely the ones who speak the most. If you feel stuck, avoid starting conversations, or think your interactions always stay on the surface, this isn't a lack of charisma. It's simply a lack of technique. And yes, there's a clear way to change that starting today. In today's video, The Art of Socializing, Learn to Talk So Well, we'll walk you through, step by step, how to become that person who captures attention with just a few words and connects with anyone, anywhere, backed by science and human behavior. Drop a comment below. I want to speak with confidence if you're ready to become that kind of person this week. You might believe that being a good conversationalist is a natural gift, something reserved for people born with charisma or who are naturally outgoing. But that belief is one of the biggest cultural traps when it comes to effective communication. The truth is, social skills are just as trainable as riding a bike or learning to drive. The only difference is that no one taught you this in school. No one ever sat down with you and said, plainly, that instant connection, body language, and active listening are just as powerful as any college degree. Take Brad, for example. He used to be the guy standing against the wall at parties, pretending to be busy on his phone. At 34, he felt panicked just thinking about starting a conversation at a networking event. He had no clue how to overcome his shyness, let alone develop charisma. Today, he leads meetings with CEOs and is known for building strong connections within the first few minutes of conversation. His secret wasn't magic or a personality overhaul. It was 3 small mindset shifts and consistent daily practice. That's what opened the door for him to confidently master social skills. The truth is, you don't need to change who you are to become someone magnetic. You just need to understand the invisible mechanics that make a conversation truly work. Once you grasp the structure behind empathy, body language, and active listening, talking to anyone becomes as natural as breathing. And this is where everything starts to change. The 5 pillars of magnetic conversation. The first pillar is simple, but powerful, and just understanding this one already puts you ahead. It's called the 3-second rule. You know that urge to talk to someone, but then suddenly you think, never mind. That tiny gap between impulse and action is exactly where insecurity grows. When you act within those first 3 seconds, before your brain kicks in with self-doubt, you break the paralysis cycle. Want to try it today? Standing in line or at a coffee shop. Notice something interesting about someone? Say something. It can be as simple as, "Is that book any good?" Or "This heat is brutal, right?" Short, real, and direct. Effective communication starts with action, not perfection. The second pillar is emotional mirroring. Stanford researchers define this as the ability to emotionally attune to others. It's not about copying gestures. It's about picking up on someone's tone, pace, and vibe. If they're upbeat, respond with light energy. If they're quieter, slow your rhythm down. This creates an instant connection because it shows you know how to read the room. And guess what? People who feel understood are much more likely to open up. This is one of the subtle secrets of those who truly master social skills. Now for the pillar that creates the biggest shift. More you, less me. Most people want to talk about themselves, but those who truly know how to listen become magnetic. Practice active listening with questions like, "What made you choose that?" Or, "How did that experience make you feel?" This creates such a strong field of empathy that you don't need to force charisma. It shows up naturally. People connect with those who are genuinely interested in them, not with those who are just trying to seem interesting. The fourth pillar is invisible bridges. This is pure gold for anyone who freezes up in conversation. The technique? Use what the other person just said as a springboard. If someone says they love cooking, you might say, "Really? I've always wanted to learn, but I'm terrible in the kitchen. What's a good recipe for a total beginner?" This keeps the conversation flowing naturally, and you'll never run out of things to say again. And finally, the 5th pillar, nonverbal language. The conversation starts before the first word. UCLA studies show that over 90% of communication happens through body language. So if you walk into a room with relaxed shoulders, open posture, and steady eye contact, you're already sending a confident message before you even say hello. The way you respond physically, with a smile, a nod, even a slight shift in expression, communicates empathy and builds charisma automatically. The biggest mistake that keeps people from building real communication is trying too hard to seem interesting. When someone focuses on impressing others, talking about their achievements, trying to sound brilliant all the time, they end up blocking the most valuable part of conversation, genuine connection. And here's the ironic part. The more you try to shine, the more unnatural you come across. What truly captivates people isn't forced charm, it's sincere interest. Those who master true social skills know that empathy speaks louder than any resume disguised as a life story. And yes, this can be learned. Ask open-ended questions. Really pay attention to the answers. Notice the little things others overlook. Compliment a thoughtful idea. Show real excitement about something simple the other person shared. The kind of active listening and warm presence melts even the toughest social walls and sparks what experts call instant connection. When you stop performing and start listening, people feel seen, heard, and valued. And that's when their defenses drop, the conversation flows, and your natural charisma starts to shine. That's the moment when all those social techniques stop being theory and start becoming real impact, felt in the eyes and smiles of the people around you. And from that point on, even the way you see yourself begins to change. Before any conversation, what really holds most people back isn't a lack of things to say, it's the fear of being judged. It's that knot in your stomach, those automatic thoughts like, what if I come off as awkward? Or what if no one wants to listen? This kind of emotional block sabotages effective communication before it even starts. That's why it's essential to learn how to neutralize that internal state. And there's a simple technique from cognitive behavioral therapy that can do just that in just 60 seconds if done with intention. Here's how it works. First, take 3 slow, deep breaths. On the third breath, close your eyes for a moment and visualize a time when you felt safe and respected in a conversation. Maybe it was a casual chat with a friend or a moment at work when someone truly made you smile. As you hold that image in your mind, silently repeat a grounding phrase like, I am present or I connect with ease. This creates a new emotional state, reduces anxiety, and prepares your body to engage naturally. It's like flipping a mental switch from defense mode to connection mode. Nothing changes until you start practicing. Knowledge without action is just more forgotten information. And when it comes to social skills, that's no different. So here's a simple challenge with the power to completely shift the way you communicate. Start one conversation a day, every day for the next 7 days. Just one. IT could be with the barista making your coffee, your rideshare driver, the cashier at the pharmacy, or even a colleague from your team. The goal isn't to impress anyone. It's to practice instant connection, overcome shyness, and build charisma through real-world action. You can start with a light observation, a short question, or even a friendly, humorous comment about something happening around you. If you're in an elevator, try, looks like the weather's not messing around today, huh? In line somewhere. Try, have you had this before? Looks good, but I'm on the fence. The point is just start. Each time you do, you're strengthening your social muscle, and your body language naturally begins to shift toward being more open, more confident. With every small interaction, your brain starts learning that conversation isn't a threat, it's an opportunity. This video didn't show up for you by accident. If you've made it this far, it's because something inside you knows it's time to start socializing with more presence, more empathy, and more awareness. Now is the moment to take everything you've learned and put it into action. And of course, if this video brought you value, share it with someone who also deserves to communicate as well as they live. And don't forget, drop a comment below and tell us, which technique are you going to try first?